put out today, because they will certainly not wanting to start the one-day series in Hyderabad 3 days from now with a loss.
Yes, a couple of changes might be on the cards here for India, and we can see the Indian team warming up. There's Vijay Shankar as well as Siddharth Kaul, Shikhar Dhawan. So quite a few players who were missing in the first T20, missing in action there, and they might be coming into the side this time around. For Australia, of course, there is one news that Kane Richardson is out of the tour with a reported side strain, and Andrew Tye will be flying in as a replacement for the ODIs. No such injury worries for India at the moment, and it remains to be seen. While India might make a couple of changes to their playing 11, it remains to be seen if Australia, who have started this tour on a winning note, whether they will go in with the playing 11. We are not too far away from the toss, and we will continue to build up towards this action in the second T20 between India and Australia.
Well, certainly a lot to look forward to, as the crowd is already coming in good numbers. The traffic around the stadium pretty chock-a-block, because Chinnaswamy Stadium is located at one of the major crossroads at the end of the MG Road, the main say downtown area in Bengaluru. And because of its location next to the park as well, it provides easy access from at least two sides of the stadium. But people are flocking in early. They don't want to miss any of the T20 action, because they know T20 action can be pretty fast and furious, and having paid for those tickets, they will not want to miss out on anything.
And as I can see outside, as the Indian team warms up, it's Vijay Shankar who's marked his run-up. So there's enough proof that he might be included in the side. It remains to be seen. Will he come in for an extra pacer, or will he come in for the extra spinner? Remember, India did play 3 spinners in the first T20 at Vizag. So, well, the bowlers have often been carted around at the M. Chinnaswamy Stadium. And of course, it is always a batting beauty whenever T20 cricket comes to town in Bengaluru.
We'll just slip into a short break, and we'll be back with lots more, including the toss, but that's a short while away. At the moment, we'll take a short break.
You are listening to Sports Flashes Live. Download Sports Flashes app or visit www.sportsflashes.com. Sports Flashes, world's biggest sports radio channel. This is Sports Flashes Live. Sports Flashes, world's biggest sports radio channel. Sports Flashes, everything about sports.
Cricket trivia. Only on Sports Flashes.
Virat Kohli's 512 runs in T20 internationals versus Australia is the most number of runs scored by any batsman versus the Aussies. Aaron Finch's 397 runs in T20 internationals versus India is the most scored by any batsman against the men in blue.
Here we go, what a start. Wow, he's crushed that very first ball. Oh, what about that? What about that? Oh, and another one. Easily done by the keeper.
It's about time for Indian T20 Showdown. Stay tuned to Sports Flashes.
You are listening to Sports Flashes.
Welcome back to Sports Flashes Radio. We are coming to you live from the M. Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bengaluru, building up to the second T20 international between India and Australia. Australia lead the two-match series 1-0, and as the players from both sides continued with their warm-up routines, it must be said that there is plenty of buzz around the ground looking forward to this contest, because they have played not so long ago, but still the crowd will want to lap up all the action here. And T20 have been pretty high-scoring affairs at the M. Chinnaswamy Stadium, Chetan, because the pitch seems to play true and flat.
Yes, time and again we have seen that in IPL cricket and also over many ODIs and T20s here. If I'm not mistaken, Rohit Sharma has a double hundred at this ground, and well, he could be in contention for playing today again. At this moment, the Australian team is huddled up, listening intently to their coach, Justin Langer. He obviously has some pearls of wisdom for his side. They are on the cusp of achieving something major. Remember, this Australian team is a tightly knit unit, but they're still trying to come together, still trying to, stitch together winning runs. But what a moment will it be for this Australian side if they can start this Indian tour ahead of the looming World Cup with a T20 series win on Indian soil.
Definitely a lot to look forward to for the Australians, because they didn't have the best of summers back home down under when India walloped them in the Test series 2-1. And, well, it could very easily have been 3-1 but for the washout in Sydney. But certainly it must be said that the Australians know how to fight, and that's something that they are going to do all the way. So a wonderful display by Glenn Maxwell. Got a 56 of 43 deliveries, and the bowling, especially Nathan Coulter-Nile and Pat Cummins, were a revelation as they made sure that India were restricted to 126. And 126 is not such a comfortable position to be in for the side defending it.
Absolutely, it was sort of a batting collapse for India. So not a great batting performance, as admitted by skipper Virat Kohli in the post-match press conference. And he obviously will look for improvements, not just from himself, but from the rest of the Indian batting lineup. There could be a couple of changes, as we have hinted, but we will talk about them as we continue to build on towards this second T20 between India and Australia. For the moment, we will take a short break.
Cricket Trivia. Only on Sports Flashes.
Virat Kohli's 512 runs in T20 internationals versus Australia is the most number of runs scored by any batsman versus the Aussies. Aaron Finch's 397 runs in T20 internationals versus India is the most scored by any batsman against the men in blue.
Cricket Trivia. Only on Sports Flashes.
India's score of 202 in an innings at Rajkot is the highest score registered in T20 internationals between the two teams. 650s have been scored between the two teams in T20 international games in India.
You are listening to Sports Flashes live. Download Sports Flashes app or visit www.sportsflashes.com. Sports Flashes, world's biggest sports radio channel. You are tuned into Sports Flashes Radio. World's biggest sports radio channel. Sports Flashes, the official broadcast partner of BCCI. Sports Flashes, everything about sports.
Welcome back to Sportsflashes Radio. All set for the India versus Australia second T20 international here at the Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bengaluru as the sun sets over the horizon and the floodlights take control. It is a good pitch to bat on. That's what the experts feel, and certainly lots of runs have been scored traditionally at the Chinnaswamy Stadium. So no real alarms, and even the sides bowling second don't have too much of a problem because there is not much of a dew factor, especially after the days have been so hot that there's hardly any moisture left anywhere.
Not to mention there is a bit of a green tinge on the pitch, so it might just keep the pacers interested. They would like the firm bounce that might be on offer here, but perhaps not as much enjoyable as it would be for the batsmen who will be looking to clear what are considered to be short boundaries across Indian cricket. And Chinnaswamy Stadium always famous for tall totals here. Looking back at the first T20, of course, like I said, India were a bit disappointed with the kind of performance their batsmen put in. And the dilemma for India at the moment is what to do with their top order. They gave KL Rahul a chance. He scored a half century after almost 6 months of international cricket. And then, obviously, they chose to rest Shikhar Dhawan. So, would they bring him back today and rest Rohit Sharma? Or would they rather play all three of them in that top order and maybe try and adjust KL Rahul later down in the middle order? So interesting choices for India in terms of how their batting might shape up.
Well, definitely looking at the batting lineup, I think a few changes might be in order for the Indians, and Virat Kohli will obviously reveal his cards only at the toss, but at the moment the way players are warming up, it looks like Karthik may not be getting a game today, and neither would Siddharth Kaul. So it could be a toss-up between the batsman and in the batting composition, because Krunal Pandya, the way he's been warming up, I think he's definitely going to play, and so would Mayank Markande, because both have been warming up vigorously and also had a long chat with our expert Lakshman Shivramakrishnan, and he went down for his pitch report. So that certainly shows that the players who are in the mix are not really scared to pick the brains of some of the heroes of the yesteryears.
Well, that would have been an interesting conversation for the young wrist spinner. Lakshman Shivramakrishnan, of course, one of India's better leg spinners in the past. Every time you talk to players from the past, whether it is in the eye, then we'll continue our build-up to the toss and, of course, the first ball later on. But at this moment, we will take just a short break.
One station filled with full football fever.
Thinks about the shot, will go for it, and will plant an absolute cracker into the corner to put the icing on what is a very sweet-tasting cake for Manchester City.
And you are just one click away.
Sergio Aguero. Oh, that's vicious! Unstoppable!
Download Sportsflashes app or visit www.sportsflashes.com. Sportsflashes, world's biggest sports radio channel.
Sportsflashes. Cricket trivia. Only on Sportsflashes.
Virat Kohli's 512 runs in T20 internationals versus Australia is the most number of runs scored by any batsman versus the Aussies. Aaron Finch's 397 runs in T20 internationals versus India is the most scored by any batsman against the men in blue.
Cricket trivia. Only on Sportsflashes.
Virat Kohli's 8 catches in 14 T20 internationals versus Australia is the most by any player between India and Australia. Rohit Sharma's 19 T20 internationals versus Australia is the most number of matches that a player has been a part of in an India-Australia encounter.
Catch all the cricketing action and complete drama at one click of your phone.
He does that. Smack again onside, being peppered. Consecutive boundaries.
Don't miss. Download the app now. Sports Flashes, world's biggest sports radio channel.
Welcome back to Bangalore on Sports Flashes Radio, and we are building to the second T20 between India and Australia at this moment. And a couple of statistics to start off here. The defeat in the last game was India's first T20 loss at home for 8 matches. They defeated Sri Lanka and West Indies both in 2017 and 2018. Of course, Virat Kohli was rested for those series, and Rohit Sharma was leading the Indian side. Meanwhile, India have played 3 T20 matches at the M. Chinnaswamy Stadium. They've won 2 and they have lost 1 against Pakistan. You don't get India-Pakistan matches too often now, at least not outside the ICC trophies. Australia, meanwhile, have played 1 T20 at this ground, and it was during the ICC 2016 World T20, and they played against Bangladesh and won by 3 wickets. Perhaps they will be drawing inspiration from that game and looking to close out the series here today.
Well, certainly, and given the losses that they suffered at home, it would be nice for them to come here and beat India in India. Sweet revenge, certainly, and especially for a man like Aaron Finch, who was not in the best of forms, continues to struggle with his form, but his team stood up to the challenge, although things were made very, very interesting with a dramatic 19th over bowled by Jasprit Bumrah, when that left 12 runs to get for the side in the final over, and that was pulled off by Pat Cummins and Jai Richardson for a 3-wicket victory, but a victory nonetheless very satisfying for the Australians, because it's always good to start off on a winning note when you're touring.
Of course, talking about the Australian batting card from that previous game, they were chasing a paltry total of 127, and Glenn Maxwell with that half century of 43 balls, 6 fours and 2 sixes, changed the course of the game after they were reduced to 5 for 2. Darcy Short played a very mature inning at the top of the order, 37 of 37 balls, really complimented Maxwell very well as he was going great guns and turning the momentum in Australia's favour. Apart from that, though, only Peter Hanscom crossed the 10-run mark, scored 13 runs of 15 balls. Sort of a misadventure.
Finishes off in style. A magnificent strike into the crowd. India lift the World Cup. Pulls it back. Here's Ronaldo for the hat-trick. And Cristiano Ronaldo does it again.
Sports Flashes, world's biggest sports radio channel. This is Sports Flashes Live.
Mika Häkkinen, the flying Finn from Helsinki, is on his last lap. Looking magnificently good for his 20th World Championship win.
Download Sports Flashes app or visit www.sportsflashes.com. Sports Flashes, world's biggest sports radio channel.
Sports Flashes.
One station filled with full football fever.
Thinks about the shot, will go for it, and will plant an absolute cracker into the corner to put the icing on what is a very sweet-tasting cake for Manchester City.
And you are just one click away.
Sergio Aguero. Oh, that's vicious! Unstoppable!
Download Sports Flashes app or visit www.sportsflashes.com. Sports Flashes, world's biggest sport.
And the batsman will find the bounce coming in true. And once the ball will start coming onto the bat, obviously players will not hesitate to go with their shots. And we should see a lot of big shots being played here at the Chinnaswamy Stadium, because it has been a traditionally high-scoring ground in T20 contests as well as the one-day internationals. But remains to be seen. Although, Chetan, what do you think? The captain winning the toss would choose to bat, or would invite the opposition as Aaron Finch did in Vizag?
I think Australia would like to play to their strength, and their strength would be to put India out of their comfort zone. We all know that India like to chase. As you rightly mentioned, the complexion of this pitch doesn't usually change, especially in T20 cricket, over both innings. So India would obviously be looking to chase. But having said that, Australia will once again, as per me, I think they would like to win the toss and ask India to bat first. Of course, the mind goes back to Yuzvendra Chahal's 6-4 against England back in 2016. India put on a tall score when they were invited to bat first, and then with that 6-4, he helped India win that series here at this ground. So anything can happen. They have the experience of playing too much IPL cricket on this ground. All of these players, not just the Indians, but also the Australians. We'll take another short break, and once we are back, we will be looking forward to the toss for the second T20 between India and Australia.
You are tuned into Sports Flashes Radio. World's biggest sports radio channel. Sports Flashes, the official broadcast partner of BCCI. Sports Flashes, everything about sports.
Cricket trivia. Only on Sports Flashes.
Virat Kohli's 512 runs in T20 internationals versus Australia is the most number of runs scored by any batsman versus the Aussies. Aaron Finch's 397 runs in T20 internationals versus India is the most scored by any batsman against the men in blue.
You are tuned into Sports Flashes Radio. World's biggest sports radio channel. Sports Flashes, the official broadcast partner of BCCI. Sports Flashes, everything about sports. You are listening to Sports Flashes Live. Catch all the live updates of Australia Tour of India from 24th February to 13th March. Download the app now and stay tuned for more updates. Sports Flashes, world's biggest sports radio channel.
Welcome back to Bengaluru for the second T20 between India and Australia. I'm Chetan Narula here, building up to the this game, the toss and the first ball later on. And I'm joined in by former Indian cricketer Lakshman Sivaramakrishnan. Good evening, Siva. India perhaps looking to bounce back, smarting from that defeat, looking for a better batting performance here.
Good evening, Chetan. Good evening to all. Yes, certainly need to bat a lot better. 126 wasn't good enough. A lot of blame was on Umesh Yadav, conceding 14 of the final over. But not too many times with 126 runs on the board, you're going to go on and win the game. India made a really good match of it, but Australia prevailed in the end. But it's so important for India to make those changes today to strengthen the batting. You don't want Umesh Yadav batting at number 8. Krunal Pandya is just new in the T20 version at the international level. He batted at number 7 and Umesh Yadav at number 8. So you'd like to see somebody like a Vijay Shankar come in who can bowl a bit and be a 6th bowling option. So the combination for India also holds a lot of dependency on the fast bowlers just delivering, but they've also got to get the all-rounders in.
Yes, we saw Vijay Shankar marking his run-up, so it's almost a certainty that he might be playing today. You were downstairs a while ago, and we saw you having a chat with young Mayank Markande. Can you just discuss a bit with us what words of inspiration you had for the youngster?
Generally, when you see a spinner, more so for a leg spinner, you want to see him side on. And Mayank Markande is one of those leg spinners. Very early in his career, international career, probably a couple of seasons for Punjab in Ranji Trophy level. But he's got a tendency to be a chest-on bowler. For that, he needs to make a few corrections, get a little side on. Just having a word with Mayank Markande. Also, the bowling coach, Bharti Arun, where they will work on him with an angular run-up where he gets a little bit more side on and he's able to use his entire body to really good effect. But by staying front on, the upper body is not used to full effect. So Ideally, you want to be a side-on bowler, where you look over your left shoulder, look at the target, and be able to use your upper body, your fingers and your wrist to be able to get turned on any pitch. So those are the few things that the leg spinner has to work on.
And just before we go for the toss, a question about Australia 1-0. This is a side that is, reeling from the bands of Steve Smith and David Warner, still building with that World Cup looming. How important or how crucial for them is that 1-0 lead going into that game? How much does that inspire an away side, especially playing in Indian conditions?
Well, India have had the better of Australia in the last few months, so Australia want to probably win at least one series, even if it's a T20 series, 2-match series. Ideally, you don't want a 2-match series, you would like a 3-match series, but that's the way the fixtures have gone. Virat Kohli said that he'll prefer to have the extra 2 one-days instead of the T20s. But winning any series away from home gives a lot of confidence, and if Australia go on to win this one and win the series, they'll have a lot more confidence to compete with India, who've been a far better one-day side than Australia in Australia. So I think this particular game and the series is of prime importance for Australia to win and gain confidence and to be able to compete for the rest of the tour. So for that, it's got to be a comprehensive performance. With 127 to chase in the last game, it went down to the wire. It shouldn't have been the case. Maxwell got out, then there were a couple of wickets falling. So it went down to the last over. India thought they were still in it, but the last over proved decisive for Australia. Hopefully here, they can put up a much better all-round performance.
Well, we have seen both sides experimenting a bit. Of course, we've mentioned that 2019 World Cup, which will be played in England from May 30 onwards. Both sides have been experimenting, keeping that tournament in mind. You heard Siva say that India would have perhaps liked 2 extra ODIs, but sometimes this hectic international schedule does not allow those matches to come in. As it is, it's 5 ODIs which are looming ahead in the coming week. But for now, it is the second T20, and we will be going downstairs for the toss for the second T20 between India and Australia.
Good evening, everyone. Beautiful Bangalore it is this evening for the second T20 International of the Paytm Series. The 2 captains alongside me, Virat Kohli, Aaron Finch, and the match referee, the most affable Ranjan Madhugali. Virat has got the coin. Heads is the call from Aaron Finch. Heads it is. Aaron, what have you decided to do and why?
We're going to bowl first, mate. I think it looks like a really good wicket again, and hopefully we can chase it down later on.
Is that something to go with what you did in the last game because you were able to defend India? Is that one of the reasons, or is it because of the track record of this ground?
No, it looks like a really good wicket. It generally is here in Bangalore, so we back ourselves to chase down total later on, and I think with our 4 fast bowlers plus Marcus Stoinis and Zampa, if there's going to be anything in the wicket, it'll be first up.
1-0 up. It's a great time to salvage some pride from whatever happened in Australia with the way Indian team played.
They played some great cricket. They outplayed us in all 3 formats pretty much. So, that's just another chance to win a game for Australia and hopefully win a series.
And your team news?
No changes.
Brilliant. Go well.
Thanks, mate.
Virat, what would you have done?
Yeah, we would have bowled first as well. Looks like a pretty nice wicket, as Aaron mentioned. Looks like back to normal Bangalore wicket, which is a good sign. We don't mind batting first as well. I think it's going to be pretty similar throughout the course of the game. As I said, we would have bowled first as well.
Yeah, that's something which I wanted to ask you. It's your home. It's been your home venue for I don't know how many years now. You've seen the wicket change. How do you think this will go? This will pan out?
Well, it looks really good. As I said, for the last 3 years, this is probably the most similar to the old Bangalore wicket that I can remember. So, as I said, that's a good sign. Looks like there's a lot of hard work that's gone in to prepare and maintain the pitch, and hopefully, this continues to be the trend because Bangalore's always been a venue where all teams have enjoyed playing, and the wicket was a bit of a spoiler in the last couple of years, but looks back to normal.
1-0 down, and India has done a great job of coming back in these kind of series. What was your team talk after the last game? Is the lower order a bit of a concern for you, or you back yourselves that all the batsmen who we have picked will get the runs?
Well, look, many mistakes. Shot selection is something that we've discussed. I think the bowling was outstanding to show that much character in a very low total was outstanding to see. But we need those kind of games and these kind of situations to get used to high-pressure games, especially in the T20 format where we have a World Cup next year as well. So we need to get used to playing in these big games where pressure is on us. We're playing at home. We have to deliver, and I think everyone should embrace that.
Any team changes for you?
3. Rohit's been given a rest. He's been playing for a while. Shikhar comes in. Vijay Shankar is in for Mayank Markande, looking at the conditions in the pitch. And Umesh Yadav makes way for Siddharth Kaul.
Best of luck for today. So the news from out here in the centre is that Australia have won the toss and will field first.
So there it is, Australia winning the toss and fielding first, again putting India out of their comfort zone. Virat Kohli's side like to chase, and of course no changes for Australia, but 3 for India. Rohit Sharma, Umesh Yadav and Mayank Markande out from the last game, and in comes Shikhar Dhawan and Vijay Shankar, the all-rounder, as well as Siddharth Kaul for a change in the pace department. With me, former Indian cricketer Lakshman Sivaramakrishnan, and we'll just get his thoughts on that. Siva, no surprises there really on this pitch, which doesn't change complexion. Over 2 innings, Australia opted to bowl first.
It's a very good decision and a straightforward decision as well, because it's a chasing ground. Bangalore, no matter how many runs you get, you can't chase it down because of the extremely good conditions. The ball travels to the boundary very quickly. It's not the biggest cricket ground in the world, so you can chase any score. But first off, for Australia is to contain India, and India have made those changes with Shikhar Dhawan coming in. Vijay Shankar comes in, so the lower order batting is stabilized a bit. Siddharth Kaul comes in for Umesh Yadav. Siddharth Kaul is a much better bowler than Umesh Yadav, especially with the wide ball, and he's got a lot of variety. And that's where India are going. A lot of speculation on Pant or Karthik. One of them might be rested, but both of them are playing. So we have the 3 wicket keepers that are playing for India today. But it's so important for KL Rahul to make a significant contribution with Shikhar Dhawan and Virat Kohli getting a big score.
We'll continue to build up to the first ball for the second T20 between India and Australia. For the moment, we'll take a short break.
Catch all the cricketing action and complete drama at one click of your phone.
He does that. Smack again onside, being peppered. Consecutive boundaries.
Don't miss. Download the app now. Sports Flashes, world's biggest sports radio channel.
Sportsflashes. Cricket trivia. Only on Sports Flashes.
Virat Kohli's 512 runs in T20 internationals versus Australia is the most number of runs scored by any batsman versus the Aussies. Aaron Finch's 397 runs in T20 internationals versus India is the most scored by any batsman against the men in blue. You are tuned into Sports Flashes Radio. World's biggest sports radio channel. Sports Flashes, the official broadcast partner of BCCI. Sports Flashes, everything about sports. One station filled with full football fever.
Thinks about the shot, will go for it, and will plant an absolute cracker into the corner to put the icing on what is a very sweet-tasting cake for Manchester City.
And you are just one click away.
Sergio Aguero. Oh, that's vicious! Unstoppable!
Download Sports Flashes app or visit www.sportsflashes.com. Sports Flashes, world's biggest sports radio channel. Sports Flashes.
Welcome back to Bangalore as we continue to build up to the first ball of the second T20 between India and Australia. Remember, Australia lead this short series 1-0 and will be gunning to close out the series with a winning performance once again here. Australia have won the toss and opted to field first. India making 3 changes, and we're talking about their team 11. Vijay Shankar coming in, the all-rounder seam up option there. 2 spinners in Krunal Pandya and Yuzvendra Chahal, and 2 pacers in Jasprit Bumrah and Siddharth Kaul. It is the formula that India use quite often in T20 and ODI cricket. Siva, do you think it's a better balanced side today for India?
It certainly is, because Vijay Shankar gives you a couple of overs, and he's a very handy batsman. He can stabilize your batting in case there's a collapse like we saw in the last game. So I think it's a really good option. Vijay Shankar is a conventional player, and even when he hits those big shots, he looks to hit down the ground with the full face of the bat. So I think it's a fairly good move. And Siddharth Kaul is fairly experienced, done exceptionally well in the IPL. And he plays for the Sunrisers Hyderabad. He used to play for the Sunrisers Hyderabad, where the pitch is generally good for batting. And he's got a lot of variety. Siddharth Kaul boasts a slower delivery, the knuckle ball, and can swing the new ball both ways. So he'll be more than handy. I think a much better option than Umesh Yadav. Umesh Yadav is a really good bowler with the red ball in Test match cricket. But when it comes to white ball, I think Siddharth Kaul is a better option. And Shikhar Dhawan coming in for Rohit Sharma. Well, the left-hander against the left-handed fast bowler, I think Jason Behrendorff is a good option because you left the left-right combination. And Rohit Sharma has been given a break. So just phasing it out, I mean, India are focusing more on the preparation to the 50-over World Cup in end of May, starting on the 30th of May.
And just a question about the Australian bowling. They've had some experience playing in Indian conditions. They've played a lot of IPL matches. Somebody like Nathan Coulter-Nile, who was so impressive in that first T20. They really control the middle overs, especially after the power play. Is that something that India need to watch out for again, especially?
Well, different pitch. In Vizag, the old ball, I mean, if you looked at the numbers for both the teams, the first 10 overs provided most runs for both teams. Even when Australia batted second and they're chasing, a lot of runs, significant part of the runs came in the first 10 overs when the ball was hard and new. Once the ball got a little softer, the tendency in Vizag was the ball to just stay onto the surface a little longer, wasn't coming onto the bat, and you saw Mahendra Singh Dhoni towards the end of the innings struggling to play the big shots. But the situation is different here. It looks like a really good batting surface. There is a tinge of green, there's a covering of grass, the ball will come onto the bat. They're not expecting any dew, so it's going to be a very good pitch to bat on, and I expect a much better performance in the middle overs and a bigger score than 126, which was registered in the last game.
Indeed, both skippers talking about the nature of the pitch, which might not alter too much. They are looking to score quite a few more runs than what they did in Vizag. We'll take a short break and be back on the other side and continue this build-up to this second T20 between India and Australia.
This is Sports Flashes live. Sports Flashes, world's biggest sports radio channel. Sports Flashes, everything about sports.
Cricket Trivia. Only on Sports Flashes.
MS Dhoni's 4 dismissals against India in T20 internationals in India are the most by any wicketkeeper between the two camps. 3 dismissals by MS Dhoni and Tim Payne each are the most number of dismissals by a wicketkeeper in a T20 international innings when played in India. You are listening to Sports Flashes live. Catch all the live updates of Australia Tour of India from 24th February to 13th March. Download the app now and stay tuned for more updates. Sports Flashes, world's biggest sports radio channel.
Cricket Trivia. Only on Sports Flashes.
Virat Kohli's 8 catches in 14 T20 internationals versus Australia is the most by any player between India and Australia. Rohit Sharma's 19 T20 internationals versus Australia is the most number of matches that a player has been a part of in an India-Australia encounter.
Welcome back to Bangalore as we continue the build-up to the second T20 between India and Australia. Australia leading the series 1-0, and they have just won the toss here and opted to bowl first. India coming out of their comfort zone once again and will be setting a target. Of course, a different pitch. India making 3 changes as well. I'm joined by Ravikant Singh now. For India, it's really important that they get off to a good start. We have a new opening pair for them, Shikhar Dhawan and KL Rahul. They've batted together in the past, but India usually have Dhawan and Rohit Sharma up top. So this is another chance for KL Rahul to come good. He scored a half century in the first game. It should be a matter of just carrying on.
Well, definitely, and KL Rahul is somebody who's in form, so there was not much of a question about him being dropped. Resting Rohit Sharma may be a good decision because he's definitely a certainty for the 50-over game, but giving some game time to Shikhar Dhawan as well is not such a bad idea, especially when you can have a left-right combination at the top, which can be a bit disconcerting with the for the new ball bowlers. But as the groundsmen provide the finishing touches to the ground, we are about exactly 16 minutes away from the first ball. It remains to be seen how India get off to a start, because the start in Vizag was not too bad, Chetan. They got 49 in the power play, but thereafter just lost their way, and in one particular spell by Kultanile, where he picked up 2 wickets in a single over, that really broke the back of the Indian batting.
Yes, Shikhar Dhawan is featuring in his 50th T20 international, and yes, indeed, 6 overs, 49 for 1, despite losing Rohit Sharma for cheap in that first power play in Vizag. In 8.3 overs, they had 69 for 1, and as you rightly mentioned, it was a collapse thereafter for India, then 57 for 6 in the next 11.3 overs. That is something that India need to watch out for. Virat Kohli also discussed the fact that they needed better shot selection. It's not too much of a change in the batting lineup. Of course, it's Shikhar Dhawan replacing Rohit Sharma at the top, and then you have Vijay Shankar, who is the extra batsman coming in. That could be an important decision because it elongates the batting lineup just that bit. We saw in Vizag after Krunal Pandya, India were really struggling because Umesh Yadav was coming in as high as number 8. And that in T20 cricket is not really ideal.
Well, certainly that would have been a troubling aspect for the Indian think tank, and which is why they have opted to get Vijay Shankar in, who gives them a bit of a seam bowling option as well. We'll take a short break and we'll be back with lots more. We are about 14 minutes away from the first ball.
One station filled with full football fever.
Thinks about the shot, will go for it, and will plant an absolute cracker into the corner to put the icing on what is a very sweet-tasting cake for Manchester City.
And you are just one click away.
Sergio Aguero. Oh, that's vicious! Unstoppable!
Download Sportsflashes app or visit www.sportsflashes.com. Sportsflashes, world's biggest sports radio channel.
Sportsflashes. Cricket trivia. Only on Sportsflashes.
Shane Watson's 10 wickets in 8 T20 internationals versus Australia is the most taken by an Australian bowler in T20 international versus Indians. Jason Behrendorff's spell of 4 for 21 versus India in India is the best by any bowler between the two cricketing nations in T20 internationals.
You are listening to Sports Flashes live. Download Sports Flashes app or visit www.sportsflashes.com. Sports Flashes, world's biggest sports radio channel. Catch all the cricketing action and complete drama at one click of your phone.
He does that. Smack again onside, being peppered. Consecutive boundaries.
Don't miss. Download the app now. Sports Flashes, world's biggest sports radio channel.
Sports Flashes.
Welcome back to Sports Flashes Radio, coming to you live from the M. Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bengaluru alongside Chetan Narula and Ravikant Singh. We are just about 10 plus minutes from the first ball, but Australia, having won the toss and chosen to bowl first, will depend on their fast bowling options of Jason Behrendorff and Jai Richardson, who got them underway in Vizag as well. And Pat Cummins bowling third change. So that was a bit of a surprise, although Darcy Short also chipped in with 2 overs. which took one over of Behrendorff and one from Adam Zampa. So they have a couple of bowling options as well, do Australia. And Darcy Short was a bit of a surprise, left arm orthodox.
Absolutely. It was again the middle overs that really undid India. Darcy Short, Pat Cummins, Adam Zampa, an economy of 5.7 and 6 wickets in all T20s that he's played against India. So, as you mentioned, the slower bowlers did a wonderful job of containing the Indian batsmen. Darcy Short, dibbly-dobbly bowler, left-arm spinner. You never expected the kind of impact that he made, that he would be able to make it. Somebody like Rishabh Pant was not able to get him away at all, and the pressure created resulted in a brilliant run-out. Again, affected by Jason Behrendorff. Also, the fact that Pat Cummins was such a handy customer in those middle overs. So it allowed somebody like Jason Behrendorff and Jai Richardson to bowl without any pressure in the power play. Nathan Coulter-Nile to back them up. But those 4 overs from Pat Cummins did a lot of damage, a lot of control they gave to Aaron Finch in those middle overs. And India will be looking to counter them today.
Well, certainly India would be looking to counter them and also not really succumb to the wiles of Nathan Coulter-Nile, who had 3 for 26 against the Indians at Vizag. So that certainly will be a bit of a worry for India, because 3 wickets for Coulter-Nile broke the back, and he had the wickets of KL Rahul, Dinesh Karthik and Krunal Pandya in very, very quick succession. In fact, Karthik and Rahul falling in the same over. We'll take a short break and we'll come back with more as we build up to the first ball of the second T20 international between India and Australia.
You are tuned into Sportsflashes Radio.
And what a performance by the number 3 seed, Saina Nehwal, who tomorrow will contest a third All-England semi-final.
Sportsflashes, world's biggest sports radio channel.
Sportsflashes. Cricket trivia. Only on Sportsflashes.
Virat Kohli's 512 runs in T20 internationals versus Australia is the most number of runs scored by any batsman versus the Aussies. Aaron Finch's 397 runs in T20 internationals versus India is the most scored by any batsman against the men in blue.
You are listening to Sportsflashes Live. Catch all the live updates of Australia Tour of India from 24th February to 13th March. Download the app now and stay tuned for more updates. Sportsflashes, world's biggest sports radio channel.
Cricket trivia. Only on Sportsflashes.
Yuvraj Singh's 9 sixes in a T20 international series versus Australia is the most scored by any batsman between the two teams while playing in India. Jasprit Bumrah's 15 wickets in 9 T20 internationals versus Australia is the highest number of wickets taken by a bowler versus the Kangaroos.
Welcome back to Bangalore as we continue to build up the first ball of the second T20 between Australia and India. We were just talking about the bowling options for Australia and how impressive Darcy Short, Adam Zampa and Pat Cummins were after the power play, and then Nathan Coulter-Nile also coming back and breaking the back of the Indian batting lineup. Once again, I'm joined in by former Indian cricketer Lakshman Sivaramakrishnan. And Siva, talking about the Indian bowling options, playing the extra medium pace option here might just allow Virat Kohli to use Jasprit Bumrah a little later, few more, maybe 2 overs after the power play, just 2 in the power play.
Yeah, 2 in the power play. It depends on if he does get a couple of wickets in those 2 overs, then he might be tempted to go 1 more. But he certainly will like to save a couple of his overs towards the end. But what they're trying to do is spring a surprise by opening the bowling, probably with Vijay Shankar or Krunal Pandya, one of them, and see if Bumrah can keep a couple of overs for the middle of the innings and keep a couple of overs for the end of the innings. So Indians are looking like they're going to make a few tactical new stuff, and we'll have to wait and see how that works out.
And of course, we've seen in the IPL time and again Virat Kohli for Royal Challengers Bangalore using Yuzvendra Chahal with the new ball at times. That could be an option as well.
Yeah, Chahal has played all his cricket here in the IPL. The first couple of years he was with the Mumbai Indians, but the next part of the IPL he was with the Royal Challengers Bangalore. And he does bowl particularly well in this ground. Although he can go at 7.5 per over, he does pick up some important wickets. So Chahal in the middle of the innings is very, very important. And it's more important for Krunal Pandya to start bowling well, because spinners hunt in pairs. We're seeing Kuldeep and Chahal bowling when they bowl in tandem. They do get a lot of wickets, so you expect somebody like a Krunal Pandya to keep it tight, just tight. He's not expected to take too many wickets. If he does keep it tight, then they're going to chance their arm against Yuzvendra Chahal and the leg spinner who can turn the ball both ways. And he's got the variety as well with the slider and the top spinner. He can take wickets in the middle of the innings.
Chahal is only 4 wickets away from completing 50 T20 international scalps for India. We have Ravichandran Ashwin, who has 52, and Jasprit Bumrah is one short of that mark from Ashwin. And a couple more wickets here, and Bumrah could become the leading wicket taker for India in T20 cricket. How fitting would that be? Because he's such an impressive bowler, such a vital cog of this Indian bowling attack, now across formats.
All formats, yeah. Everybody was surprised by the success that he had in Test match cricket, Bumrah. But the last T20 game, he's coming after a long layoff, had a bit of a rest, didn't play the New Zealand series, but he bowled superbly, even towards the end, the second last over. The 19th over was an outstanding one where he gave Umesh Yadav every chance to defend it, 14 required of the last. So speaking about Chahal, Bumrah, he's been outstanding. He's a fit bowler, he's got an awkward action which has put a lot of pressure on his back and also in his groin. But he's worked really hard on his fitness and he bowls really quick. And one of the things we saw in the penultimate over in the last game, Bumrah didn't bowl the Yorker, just the one Yorker of the final delivery, where he got a batsman bowled. But otherwise it was quick deliveries back of a length and the ball sitting on the surface for that much longer, which the Australians did. He used that particular length with quicker deliveries that he normally bowls at 140 plus and kept the batsman quiet. So he is a very, very vital clock for India. And I think he might bowl with the new ball because he's got Finch out very early, most times. So one of the reasons why Bumrah will probably get the new ball.
Well, we have seen Bumrah surprise batsmen. Who can forget that slower Yorker that he bowled to Sean Marsh in that Melbourne Test? So he has that element to do it across formats. We'll take a short break. Less than 4 minutes to go to the first ball of the second T20 between India and Australia.
You are tuned into Sportsflashes Radio. World's biggest sports radio channel. Sportsflashes, the official broadcast partner of BCCI. Sportsflashes, everything about sports.
Cricket Trivia. Only on Sportsflashes.
Shane Watson's 10 wickets in 8 T20 internationals versus Australia is the most taken by an Australian bowler in T20 international versus Indians. Jason Barandov's spell of 4 for 21 versus India in India is the best by any bowler between the two cricketing nations in T20 internationals. You are listening to Sportsflashes Live.
Cody finishes off in style. A magnificent strike into the crowd. India lift the World Cup. Pulls it back. Here's Ronaldo for the hat-trick. And Cristiano Ronaldo does it again.
Sportsflashes, world's biggest sports radio channel. You are listening to Sportsflashes Live. Catch all the live updates of Australia Tour of India from 24th February to 13th March. Download the app now and stay tuned for more updates. Sportsflashes, world's biggest sports radio channel.
Welcome back to Bengaluru, where we have the second T20 between India and Australia. Less than a minute away from the first ball. I'm Chetan Narula and I'm joined by former Indian cricketer Lakshman Sivaramakrishnan. Australia have won the toss and put India into bat. Change at the top of the order for India. It's Shikhar Dhawan who's partnering up with KL Rahul, and they are both out in the middle. Jason Behrendorff is at the top of his mark. From the northern end, we have a slip in position, mid-on, mid-off, extra cover, backward point, mid-wicket in position, as well as short fine leg. There's a fielder at deep square leg in position 2. So that is the field for the first ball that Jason Behrendorff, left arm fast medium, who's played 7 T20s, international T20s for Australia, 6 wickets at an average of 16.67 capacity.